Stephen Joseph, you're the Chief Executive of the Campaign for Better Transport. Thanks for joining us here at the Highways UK event. Funding of highways is always a challenging area. We had, what you might call a good comprehensive spending review yesterday, I suppose, but how do you see the future of funding highways?
I think the spending review was interesting because there's a story of feast and famine there. Mm-hmm. Feast for the strategic road network, which got even more money, and some major roads as well, the local majors fund. So big roads, yes. The famine is for the local road network, where there really isn't enough money to keep it maintained, even in fact to deal with the backlog. And I don't think government got an answer to that. A £250 million potholes fund is pretty small beer with the £12 billion backlog that is estimated by various people on that. So I think there's a really big issue about how we pay for local road maintenance.
Are we ever going to see a move towards paying directly for it? Road tolling perhaps?
I think that the road pricing petition in 2007 will have made politicians quite wary of this. There's been defeats in road pricing in Edinburgh and Manchester. So I think this is going to have to be done more stealthily. I think there's opportunities with the current lorry vignette scheme to change that into something more like lorry charging. I also think that the workplace parking levy in Nottingham can be built on. And I think more generally, I think devolution, which the spending review and the Chancellor have made a big thing of, will actually bring more authorities with more capability, and this issue will come up. Yeah. I also think air pollution will be a new driver that might enable the justification of some road tolling in the future.
As we heard in the conference earlier on, ultimately we will be forced to change the model because fuel duty is falling. Ultimately, the Chancellor the Treasury will have to take action to change the model.
There'll always be an attraction to charging people when they refuel a vehicle because it's a terribly easy thing to do. Yeah. But I think there will be increasing pressure, assuming that government doesn't increase taxes from other areas and leave motoring alone, to look for new forms of funding and to bring road charging in some form back on the agenda. And I think that the decline in fuel duty as vehicles get more efficient and greener and electric and so on will be a big pressure on government to do that.
Do you think there'll be a watershed in 5 years, 10 years where that will be a necessary or an inevitability that we will have to change that model?
Yeah, I think there will come a time when we'll have to, particularly if we do move towards much more electric vehicles, and that does seem to be the way things are heading.
Technology has been spoken a lot about at this conference, and I suppose, how do you see data, the use of handheld technology, the use of technology generally really changing the way that we use roads, the way we build roads, the way we plan roads?
I think two things about it. Firstly, the way in which we plan roads at the moment is a bit dark ages. It involves stopping people on roads and asking them what they're doing and where they've come from, where mobile phone data is readily available at a price, of course, but it will tell you in real time what trends are. Yeah. So it'll help. So the data can help planning of transport in general and roads in particular. But it'll also change behaviour massively. So the availability of universal smart ticketing, of real-time information on all modes of transport will massively change the way in which people travel.
Finally, I suppose looking to the future, can you kind of identify what you think will be the biggest opportunities that you see perhaps in the next decade to really, I suppose, boost the performance of this fantastic asset, which is the highway system across the UK?
I think there'll be much more emphasis on what is known as placemaking. So you won't just look at the roads in isolation, you'll look at the roads in context, in landscapes, in rural areas, in how they relate to cities. And you've seen Transport for London move in that direction with its London Roads Task Force, which identified different types of road and looked at major schemes, some of which are already going in terms of changing the way in which the road network in London operates. And I think that emphasis on roads as part of wider strategies, of wider economic and, as I say, place-making strategies will be a much bigger story for roads in the future.
Stephen, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. Thanks a lot for joining us at the conference.
Thank you.